Welcome to this last video in our series on Basic Premiere Pro. Here we're going to look at what to do to actually export your movie once you've finished editing it so that it's a format that can be watched at a high quality. The first thing that we want to do is within our timeline, we just want to make sure that everything that we've done is as smooth as possible. So we need to apply what's called rendering to our video. Now you can probably see at the very top of my timeline here, I've got these colors here. And what this tells me is which of my clips are ready to export at high quality and which needs that rendering, which is just like a little bit of a polish to make sure that the changes that I've made are as finely tuned as possible. And work off these colors like you would traffic lights. If you see green, then it's good to go. If you see yellow, then it's still okay. We can still export it. And if you see red, it means stop. You need to render before you can move on. So in this clip here, I have one little clip that has been an effect applied to it. So I need to render this before I can export. Luckily, rendering is really easy. All you need to do is hit the enter key. And the computer does the rest. So depending on how much changes you've made, rendering might be a really slow process. So if you have quite a long film with quite a lot of effects and specific edits applied, then it might be something that you do while you're taking a break, or perhaps in those rare circumstances, you might need to render overnight. But you can see here, it's just a little small clip that I've done. So it's only taking a few seconds to render, and you can see here the estimated time is remaining. So we'll just wait for this clip to finish rendering. And now that it's rendered, you can see that it plays the clip back from start to finish with all of those changes in it. So it gives you a chance to watch through your clip one last time before you finally export. I'm going to trust that this is okay, and plus, since it's only a bit of an experimentation, I'm not too fussed by the final outcome. So now I'm ready to export. The way that I do this is I'll go up to File, Export, and Media. You'll get used to using shortcuts in Premiere Pro, so Control M is the shortcut to export. Now, a couple of things. When you get this export settings window, it is really important that you don't just go straight to export, that you do check a few things. The first thing that I want to check is down here I have a preview timeline. So I want to drag my playhead right back to the start to make sure that the very first thing that I see is my very first clip. And I want to drag it to the end to make sure it finishes how I want it to. And in this case it does, so I'm going to leave it. Otherwise you can click on these little icons to actually start it or finish it at different points. The next thing that I want to do is to make sure that my settings are correct. Now, it's very tempting to hit match sequence settings, and then that way it just matches whatever it was set up as. But I like to make sure that my videos are in the highest possible quality. So I'm going to select the format H.264. It tends to be the best compression format that I have found. You don't need the Blu-ray version, just the regular H.264. Select that. And then I'm going to make sure that I will match the original source, so my original videos, at the highest possible rate. You might need to change this from time to time. So some of the other things that you could possibly change this to, if we just scroll down, is to change it to a high quality, either 720p or perhaps 1080p. But really, if I don't want to think about that sort of stuff, just match source high bitrate is correct. The next thing that I want to do is to just check that the output, so what the video that I'm producing matches the original source. So I haven't done anything screwy with the size. So 1280 by 696 matches here, 1280 by 696. The frame rates match the same, 23.9 with 23.9 frames per second. And then finally, I'll just double check that the audio at 48 kilohertz matches 48,000 or kilohertz. So that works out well. My settings are perfect. And then finally, I need to save it to a specific location with a specific name. So I'm going to click on this little blue output name, and it brings me to which folder do you want to save it in. I'm happy to save mine in PC and videos, but I'm just going to rename it as Jurassic Park Trailer Test. Obviously, you can call yours whatever you want. Just name it something that will be useful for you, and then hit save. So you can see here I've changed the name of it, and now I'm finally ready to hit export. So I'll hit that, and just like before, it's going to take some time to export. And once it does, you can find that video wherever you have saved it to, double click, and watch it in your video player of choice. I do recommend that anything that you do export, that you actually do go back and watch it from start to finish to make sure that there hasn't been any glitches or anything go wrong along the way, to make sure that it's absolutely perfect before you publish it anywhere. And that's the basics of how to export in Premiere Pro. Obviously, this has a little bit of time to export, so I'm going to leave it there. But thank you so much for watching these videos. I hope they have been useful for you in starting off your Premiere Pro editing experience. Thanks for watching.